I get it. You see a closed door. What's on the other side? I understand.
Welcome back to Q Dads. It's me, Ste, and yes, we are here with the second season of Silo Episode 1, which is a refreshing thing to see after some of the shows recently, especially giving us a new refreshing take in the Silo with this desolate look. Not only that, but this was one of our first Apple TV shows that we covered. You could say this was the one that started the rebellion of content on our channel, so it holds a special place in our hearts. But was this first episode a bit of a letdown? Or did it provide just enough detail to keep us intrigued? And also, we will discuss in the fact there are multiple people within this silo. So before we dive in, of course, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. But more importantly, we will not be covering any book spoilers here. So please refrain from doing that in the comments as well. Let's just talk about the show from the TV's perspective only. Right, let's dive straight in. So, as always, we're going to start with the end of the show, which opens up with the same guy that we saw in the trailer, played by Steven Zahn, but this time with a bit more dialogue, as he actually starts off in a really kind way, saying that he appreciates if we see a closed door, we're probably going to be tempted to open it, but yeah, of course ends with that line saying, if you do it again, I'm going to kill you. Now, from this scene only, I think it's fair to say these two will become close together. And not only because why introduce a character like that and not have them in the show, but more importantly, we hinted in Julie's backstory about being alone and not having any friends, as Walker mentioned to her. And this hints obviously towards this person who is alone as well, just like Juliette, which is almost foreshadowing this friendship as two unlikely people come together. Plus the fact that Julie has taken her suit off, so technically she probably can't go back outside again, which is a shame. I was kind of hoping for her to explore a couple of silos first, before then entering this one. I mean, the first silo with thousands of dead bodies you enter. I'm not sure about that. And of course, we've got to give credit here to Juliette for her amazing bridge building skills. She not only made one bridge, but almost made two after the first one failed. And I love her ingenuity towards this too. The fact she was able to build a secure bridge out of scrap in such little time. Of course, I want to talk about the fact that someone else is inside the silo and not just this character we see at the end. Now, if you go back to the episode, I think it's around the 17-minute mark, when Juliette is having difficulty with her suit and has to break the glass. It zooms out for just a second and we see a figure. A figure to me that I actually went back and watched, and it does move slightly, which indicates someone is watching her. And yes, I don't think it's the same person. I believe this is someone completely different. So, was this the person who broke the rope and deliberately cut it to hinder Juliette? Because she did look at the rope a little bit later on, and it did seem like a cut mark was on it. The question is this person someone who's living in the silo by themselves and has been trying to get across for a long time? And now the fact that Juliette has made a sturdy bridge has just put hers and the new person's life at risk? Or is it someone else, maybe a member of Judicial, who's following Juliette and watching her every move? Let me know your thoughts on this. Who do you think this is? Now, overall, the episode was good. A little disappointed that the first part of the show was like the first 5-minute sneak peek, which I kind of get, but that means we just kind of lost 10 minutes of the show before anything new actually happened. I was kind of hoping time-wise they would allow for that. Both of us do feel a little disappointed by this episode, as not much happened and it would have been nice for other areas or silos to be explored. We think maybe a second episode at the same time would have helped to get into the series a bit better, but of course we both still love the series and sometimes we do like to have a moan, and this is more because we were so excited for it and we were on the edge of our seats just waiting for more to happen. And there are some nice details in the show, like how Juliette checked the mirrors. That was one thing I did mention to myself when I first saw them, but that was good to see. Obviously, this means this silo was the same as hers, with Judicial watching them. Not only that, the camera inside was already smashed, indicating this mirror had already been put back prior to them all leaving the silo and dying. So I do wonder, how long after the rebellion did they stay in this silo for? Overall, this season gives us a new look of a desolate silo, with crops that are starting to overgrow, a abandoned houses and areas just give us a bit of a new feel to the silo that we didn't get in season 1. And of course, the fact that half this silo is indeed flooded. But this just made me ask the question, did the silo flood completely and has now started to drain into other silos surrounding it, like we saw in season 1 for Silo 18, or did they only flood it halfway through? And of course, there's a little bit to talk about in the first 5 minutes. We're not really going to touch on it too much, as we've already done a breakdown on this before, and basically this gives us some context of what is to come in Silo 18 with their rebellion. The big thing that stems from all of this, for me though, is clearly all the silos are the same, or at least have the same foundations happening inside of them. Because I'm not sure if you caught it, but the screens in the canteen had lies written over them, implying they had also seen the screen with greenery rather than desolation, similar to Silo 18. So, with that being the case, are we going to presume the character locked away in the IT section of this new silo is probably the same as Bernard in our silo, in Silo 18? Now, the door he's hiding behind looks more reinforced than any of the others, so I'm assuming this is the area needing the special key, like the one Bernard had with an 18 written on it that flashed red. Now, we see in Silo 18 that this area looks like servers and such, which you would obviously want to protect. However, that actually might not be the only thing there. Hear me out. So, looking at the bodies outside and the ones inside, we can presume there has been at least a couple of years that have passed. Now, side note, I did look up how long it takes for a body to decompose. So if we don't drop a video next week, it's because the police have been round asking questions. But being serious for a second, it does say somewhere between 3 weeks and years, depending on the climate. And it's safe to assume we're in a rubbish climate. Plus the growth inside the silo. I think it's safe to say it's probably been 5 to 10 years. So here's the thing. The guy who's locked away would never have been able to get across the gap. So what's he been living off? Is this secret part of the silo actually some kind of additional bunker? Are there others alive in there? As why would they have made this their stronghold to fight against the rebels? Could this door be another way to the door at the bottom of the silo? Either way, there is clearly a world full of knowledge behind it with all the servers. This then does make me think, the people who made the silos ultimately knew rebellions would happen and made additional areas of safety. How else is this man still alive? Let me know your thoughts, because I think there's more than meets the eye to this door. Now, a couple of nice things I noticed in general in this new silo. First, obviously, it's flooded, and we see at the start of the episode they knew it would happen. So this then begs the question, how is the power still working? As the note said engineering was going to flood, and the whole bottom of the silo is gone now. Now, was this flood man-made? Did the creators set this up on purpose as an experiment? Or has something happened on the surface to lead to this? Next, the bodies of the enforcers that were strung up. Now at first I thought they'd been hanged, but when Juliette pulls one of the bodies up, it's clear they were tied by the feet and waist. So were these people left to starve to death? Was this some kind of torture technique to try and get the codes to the door in IT? Let me know your thoughts. Now we've got to get our thoughts in for the rest of the season. So what do you think is going to happen? And for Ben, he believes that we're going to explore the silo a little bit more, going further down into the bottom and then potentially opening up this network to other silos. And the next time we see another silo, it will be coming in from the bottom rather than the top. And of course, uncovering the truth of what actually happened on the outside and hopefully what year it is. Now, as Ben mentioned, we've both held this theory of the silos being interlinked since the start. Especially as, in the recap, they emphasise the scene where George is talking about the door at the bottom of the silo. So, as I mentioned back in our trailer breakdown, I fully think we'll end episode 8 with Silo 18 and this new silo opening their doors, only to realise they are connected to different silos, not each other. I think somehow Juliette will get a message back to Silo 18, and this is what causes the rebellion. As always, it's not just about what we say, it's about you guys. So remember, no book spoilers, but let us know in the comments your thoughts on the show. Do you think this was a good episode, or do you think that actually not much happened? And is this the start of what we previously mentioned about the show being a flop? Let us know. Now, some questions directly over to you. Do you think there was someone else in the silo watching Juliette? And do you think we'll see the outside again? And finally, Like me, do you now think there's some kind of original experiment going on from the creators of these silos? Of course, don't forget to subscribe as it really does help the channel to go. Thanks for watching, and as always, we'll catch you next time with something new.